All right, Mr. Coyle, we're in the home stretch now. We talked about topography and our climate, how temperatures impact snow production. Now we need to start forecasting.
Hopefully you're still with us. Well, some old forecasting rules still apply, and experience is obviously key. Our bread and butter is using computer forecast models to predict future weather patterns.
One of the main duties of a meteorologist is to digest a lot of weather information and data. In fact, it's one of the biggest challenges we have today when making forecasts. We look at things like temperatures and wind speed, but also from space. We have satellite pictures coming in of clouds, radar from the ground telling if it's snowing or if it's raining. But also, we rely on viewer reports, too, to tell us what's going on at the ground. So whether it be pictures or snowfall or rainfall reports, that's how we start with observations. But then we need computer models to make a forecast a couple hours or even a couple days in advance. Computer models use mathematics and physics to simulate how the atmosphere behaves and changes. All the weather observations we look at get put together to give a starting point to the computers. The model then is run to spin the atmosphere forward to see how the present can predict the future. Researchers around the world constantly work to improve the math, the data crunching, and computer code that makes the models run. At ABC 27, we look at over 5 different models, including the American Global Forecast System, GFS model, and the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast, the ECMWF, or otherwise known as the Euro, model during multiple updates a day. It is our job to figure out which model is performing best, or if a blend of the model predictions is the way to go. The forecasts from each particular model often look much different, and each meteorologist can look at a model forecast differently. All 4 of us as a team work together to make the best forecast possible from the models. Usually each of our forecasts are slightly different from one another. Doesn't want to kick it out. It's more. We talk about all of the factors involved and try to find a consensus or common ground. The majority of the time, consensus is the best forecast. When the 4 of us put our heads together, good things happen. So if you like to forecast from home, you may be wondering which model is best to look at and what do we trust the most. Hurricane Joaquin in late September and early October 2015 brought the great weather model debate back to light. Which model is better, the American GFS model or the Euro model? It is true that the measures of forecast accuracy are higher or better for the Euro model compared to the GFS model. But there are many cases where the GFS outperforms the Euro for local forecasts. Hurricanes Sandy and Joaquin were high-profile examples where the Euro had a superior forecast for the storm's track compared to the GFS. After the storm has passed, we need to look over how we did and grade ourselves. That means looking back at our forecast, realizing what models worked for us and what didn't. And this can change from storm to storm. It doesn't always remain the same, so we always have to keep up with each and every storm event. Now you know some of the inside baseball that we go through when making snowfall forecasts based on computer models. Maybe next time you could try it on your own. For Beyond the Forecast, I'm meteorologist Dan Tomaso.
Wouldn't it be nice if the computers would just spit out the answer? I mean, we may get close to that here at some point in the future, but in the meantime, Ryan, we have to make a lot of judgment calls.
Well, this storm, for example, like he was saying, sometimes GFS, sometimes European. The GFS actually did very well with the storm that we saw last week. And another thing, when these ingredients actually come on shore, that's when we find a lot more information about these models versus a storm that's out over the Pacific Ocean. We have these land sources here that give us a little bit more information. It is a maddening process sometimes for sure, but we don't want to computers to be fully in charge either.
No, that's why we have to do our part as well, no doubt about it.
All right, speaking of technology, put that smartphone down and don't cheat by using Google. It's time for another trivia question. Good luck.